My commentary on the book of Ruth. Ruth chapter 1, verse 3 through verse 9. Verse 3 reads, Now Elimelech, Naomi's husband, died, and she was left with her 2 sons. Verse 4 says, They married Moabite women, one named Orpah and the other Ruth. After they had lived there about 10 years, both Melhan and Kilion, that's the 2 sons, also died, and Naomi was left without her 2 sons and husband. Now, if you remember, I pointed out that I believed that this family left the land of Judah when they shouldn't have. They should have stayed in the place the Lord had planted them and given them. But they left that place for a pagan, polytheistic, Moabite region to live. And now the 2 sons born to this couple marry Moabite women, another thing that is against the law of Moses. And it ends up that both sons and husband dies while they're in Moabite territory. I just believe that's God's discipline for this family being outside the will of the Lord. The text doesn't specifically say it, but if you understand what the book of Judges is all about, you will understand, or you could understand, that this is God's discipline on this family. Now the 2 sons marries 2 Moabite women, something they shouldn't have done. One marries Orpah and the other marries Ruth. The name Ruth means friend, and that's significant to the book of Ruth. The name Orpah means young, freshness. Something like a teenager who one day may feel all excited about something and the next day feel not so excited about something, and her name means something to the text. Verse 6, When she, that's Naomi, heard in Moab that the Lord had come to the aid of his people by providing food for them, Naomi and her daughter-in-laws prepared to return home from there. As in the book of Judges, you will see over and over again a pattern. God blesses Israel. They enjoy the blessing for a while. Sooner than later, they give themselves to paganism, to their pagan neighbors. God in turn judges them, and they feel the pinch of that judgment. Finally, they turn around and repent. God blesses them. They follow the Lord for a while, and the whole routine is cyclical. It goes over and over and over again. It's simple. God's blessing, they accept God's blessing, they eventually reject God. He judges them. He brings Israel down to the lowest depths of despair. They finally repent, come back to the Lord, and God blesses them again, and the cycle repeats itself. This is what's happening here. God had judged this part of Israel with the famine, and they have obviously repented, and now he's blessing them, and Naomi and the 2 daughter-in-laws return to their land because of God's blessing. Verse 7, With her 2 daughter-in-laws, she left the place where she had been living and set out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. Verse 8, Then Naomi said to her 2 daughters-in-law, Go back, each of you, to your mother's home. May the Lord show kindness to you as you have shown to your dead, and to me. May the Lord grant that each of you will find rest in the home of another husband. So here you have Naomi saying, and they were already on the road back to Judah. She stops and says, girls, it's probably best that you return home, find another husband, each of you, from the Moabite men. They are your people. You should be with them. Naomi is thinking of her two daughter-in-law's best interest, because if they come back to Judah, they may have a hard time finding an Israeli husband, at least in this part of Israeli history. If Israel and those around Judah and Bethlehem are now following the Lord for a while, they are not to marry pagan women. The men aren't. So they might have a hard time finding a husband. So just go back home. You'll find a husband of your own kind. Then she kissed them, and they wept aloud. Now, obviously, the kiss here is an affectionate kiss. In that culture, men and women kissed each other when they said hello. They kissed each other when they said goodbye. And this was a goodbye kiss. And the mere thought of these two women, the two daughter-in-laws, leaving Naomi was a very sad thing to consider. Now we will see one went back home and one stayed with Naomi. For more information on the Book of Ruth, visit my website, stevesweetman.com.